Today is March 10th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are on Chapter 4. Actually, we'll be finishing Chapter 4, We Agnostics. We'll be reading page 57 today. Out of 12 and 12, we're on Step 8. We'll read page 79. And of course, we'll read the 24 hours a day and daily reflection. So with that, hope you all are doing well this morning, my friends. Oh, man, I don't know okay. It is March 10th. And for those of you who know, it is Mario Day. So think of the M-A-R, March, and then 1-0, Mario. Yeah, I'm a dork. And to commemorate this special day, I have, as I've told you, my wife and I have this irrational collection of coffee mugs. I have a Game Boy coffee mug that I got at Hobby Lobby one time. And when you put hot coffee in it, the blank screen on the Game Boy turns into a scene from Super Mario Land. For those of you who know, you know. For the record too, you know, like I'm a child of the late 80s and early 90s. And I just think that was a great time, right? Because it was kind of like we were still, Mom would make us go outside all the time. I rode my bike everywhere. I was out in the woods a lot in South Jersey and everything. Go outside and play at the dead end of our street, play some street hockey. But when it was raining, I was a Nintendo kid. Sega Genesis, baby. And to this day, I love to collect old electronics. And my son, he's an old soul as well. I've got a 2600, a Vectrex. We got a couple of Pac-Man machines. All kinds of stuff. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, you name it, we've got it. You don't care. Sorry. With that, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff 3 minutes into the show. I apologize. All right, my friends. So if you recall from yesterday's reading out of the Big Book, we heard a powerful testimony from a former atheist. And again, I wonder if that's in this book just to kind of illustrate one last time, to keep that open mind and to trade old ideas for new, that we can still have reason, but we can also still have faith. And we can use our reason a lot of times to realize that, holy cow, there are a lot of things that are not in our control. And there are a lot of miracles right in front of us. And speaking of which, when this atheist says, "Who are you to say that there is no God?" Seconds later, he tumbled out of his bed and was overwhelmed by a conviction of the presence of God. It poured over him and through him with the certainty and majesty of a great tided flood. For the first time, he lived in conscious companionship with his Creator. If that is not a miracle, I don't know what is. So let's go ahead and finish off We Agnostics. So we're reading bottom of page 56 and 57. Thus was our friend's cornerstone fixed in place. No later vicissitude has shaken it. His alcoholic problem was taken away. That very night, years ago, it disappeared. Save for a few brief moments of temptation, the thought of drink has never returned. And at such times, a great revulsion has risen up in him. Seemingly, he could not even drink if he would. God had restored his sanity. What is this but a miracle of healing? Yet its elements are simple. Circumstances made him willing to believe. He humbly offered himself to his Maker, and then he knew. Even so, has God restored all of us to our right minds. To this man, the revelation was sudden. Some of us grow into it more slowly, but he has come to all who have honestly sought him. When we draw near to him, he disclosed himself to us. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Step 8. Made a list of all persons we'd harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. And yesterday, out of the 12 and 12, we talked about some of the obstacles that can come in our way. And two big ones are fear and pride. So we're going to continue that thought on page 79. Some of us, though, tripped over a very different snag. We clung to the claim that when drinking, we never hurt anybody but ourselves. Our families didn't suffer because we always paid the bills and seldom drank at home. Our business associates didn't suffer because we were usually on the job. Our reputations hadn't suffered because we were certain few knew of our drinking. Those who did would sometimes assure us that, after all, a lively bender was only a good man's fault. What real harm, therefore, had we done? No more, surely, than we could easily mend with a few casual apologies. This attitude, of course, is the end result of purposeful forgetting. It is an attitude which can only be changed by a deep and honest search of our motives and actions. Though in some cases we cannot make restitution at all, and in some cases action ought to be deferred, we should nevertheless make an accurate and really exhaustive survey of our past life as it has affected other people. In many instances, we shall find that though the harm done to others has not been great, the emotional harm that we have done ourselves has. Very deep, sometimes quite often, damaging emotional conflicts persist below the level of consciousness. At the time of these occurrences, they may actually have given our emotions violent twists, which have since discolored our personalities and altered our lives for the worse. "24 hours a day, March 10th. AA Thought for the Day. We also strengthen our faith by working with other alcoholics and finding that we can do nothing ourselves to help them, except to tell them our own story of how we found the way out. If the other person is helped, it's by the grace of God and not by what we do or say. Our own faith is strengthened when we see another alcoholic find sobriety by turning to God. And finally, we strengthen our faith by having quiet times every morning. Do I ask God in this quiet time for the strength to stay sober today? Meditation for the day. My five senses are my means of communication with the material world. They are links between my physical life and the material manifestations around me. But I must sever all connections with the material world when I wish to hold communion with the great spirit of the universe. I have to hush my mind and bid all my senses be still before I can become attuned to receiving the music of the heavenly spheres. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may get my spirit in tune with the spirit of the universe. I pray that through faith and communion with Him, I may receive the strength I need. Daily Reflection, March 10th. Today, it's my choice. We invariably find that at some time in the past, we have made decisions based on self which later places us in a position to be hurt. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 62. With the realization and acceptance that I had played a part in the way my life has turned out, came a dramatic change in my outlook. It was at this point that the AA program began to work for me. In the past, I'd always blamed others, either God or other people, for my circumstances. I never felt that I had a choice in altering my life. My decisions had been based on fear, pride, or ego. As a result, those decisions led me down a path of self-destruction. Today, I try to allow my God to guide me on the road to sanity. I am responsible for my action or inaction, whatever the consequences may be. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading, and some great stuff as always. My goodness. You know, what really stands out to me today is the 24 hours a day passage. You know, that, again, it's, if the other person is helped, it's by the grace of God and not by what we do or say. Our own faith is strengthened when we see another alcoholic find sobriety by turning to God. I remember when I was done working the steps with my sponsor, he's like, all right, buddy, it's your turn. Go out there and help somebody else. And I was excited, right? I was so excited to get out there and help. And there were a lot of people that I worked with, and for whatever reason, they wouldn't call back. They would quit going to the meetings. And I would start trying to text them and go, hey, are you all right? Is everything okay? And then I wouldn't hear anything, right? And then eventually I wouldn't hear back from them. And long story short, there were several other examples over the years, but I got really discouraged being a sponsor, really discouraged. And I thought to myself, what am I doing wrong? I even had sponsees blame me for either being too strict or blame me for being too soft and everything in between. And I thought to myself, and I've shared it a million times, I very often I can pick up that self-loathing, right? That pride in reverse. And when I would hear that criticism, it would catch me at the right time or the wrong time, depending on how you look at it, I would blame myself. Like, it's my fault these people are going back out. But then I realized all I'm responsible for is carrying the message and being there for them, praying for them, and being ready to help them when they come back. But that's it. My higher power is the one who does the saving here. My higher power is the one who works on the soul. And that person, in the end, has to make the choice of whether or not he really wants the help in the first place. The old acronym, HOW to get sober? Honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness, right? And somebody that is very special to me, he said to me one time, because he saw that I was very discouraged. I quit raising my hand to sponsor and stuff. I was very discouraged. And he said, Rob, all you got to do is carry the message. But don't chase. When you want their sobriety more than they do, that's a problem. So at the end of the day, there is a choice of whether we want this beautiful miracle sobriety or not. But trust me when I say that sobriety is so worth the work. And honestly, the more I learn from the book, the more I realize how much I don't know, and the more exciting it is to learn more stuff. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like what I've noticed in my own experience as a budding 40-year-old is that having the faith of a child, at least for me, seems to work so much better. When I acknowledge, hey, there's a God, and I'm not him. But I want to learn as much as I can while I'm here on this earth. That kind of faith, I think, is powerful. And real quick, I saw a video yesterday. And it was his father talking to his son. And his son had cancer. And the father asked the son, he said, and he's already in tears. He said, how can you smile all the time? And the son says, well, I'd rather this be me than my sisters. And he listed their names. And the father asked him, he said, are you angry at God for this? And the son said, no. The only part that makes me sad is knowing that everybody else is sad. And I'm telling you, this boy was maybe 10 years old. And he looked like my son, which just, gosh, here come the waterworks, right? But what faith, what wisdom we can learn sometimes from a child, right? I could go on and on and on, but I think I'll stop. Guys, as always, I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, or any other sect or denomination. And please know that if you are sober today, I hope you know that you're a miracle. We Agnostics, the end of it, just talked about that, the miracle sobriety. And you have a unique superpower to help the next suffering alcoholic. And you're giving a great gift to those around you. And if you're not sober today, my friend, I hope you know that you're a miracle as well, that you have worth. You are not worthless. You have great value. And I just pray that you would get the help that you need today. And you don't have to do it alone. There are so many resources out there. There are so many people willing to help you. Just got to be honest, open-minded, and willing enough to try to make that first step toward change. Your story's not done yet. And I have a feeling your story is a beautiful story. But with that, my friends, if we were given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.